Hi guys, my name is Natalia and welcome back to my channel. So today I will make a video focused on just one book that I've read recently, but I was really surprised by how good this book was. I really want to share it with you. And the book that I'm talking about is called House of Hollow by Krystal Sutherland. So if you are into dark mysteries with a touch of fantasy and horror, you definitely should pick this one up. First of all, let's start with the cover because it's one of the reasons why I even picked this book up. The cover is so hauntingly beautiful and mysterious, just like the novel. Let's talk about the atmosphere of this book. The author of this book does such an incredible job of creating this really eerie and unsettling atmosphere that really creeps up on you. Like, Krystal Sutherland's writing is so immersive. It's really lush and haunting, and it honestly gave me chills at times. There were like at least a few scenes that left me honestly terrified. Like, I was really looking over my shoulder just to make sure that no one is there or nothing is there. That's how scared I was while reading this book. Just in general, this whole book feels like a dark, modern fairy tale, and it's going to make your skin crawl for sure. Now let's talk about the characters and the sister dynamic. So the protagonist in this book is Iris, but we also follow her two sisters. We've got Iris and Vivi and Gray. By the way, their names are so beautiful and mystical. I don't know, I just felt like their names are amazing. They are very interesting characters because they have very own, very unique vibes to them. Their sister bond is really central to the story, and I think the way their relationship is portrayed, it's really raw and really realistic. You can feel their love, their fears, and all the unspoken things between them. And like I said, they all represent very unique characteristics. So we've got Gray, who is this high fashion model that is representing allure and manipulation. And then we've got the middle sister, Vivi, who symbolizes rebellion and anger. So she's this I guess punk kid. She shaved her head, she has lots of piercing tattoos, and she plays in a band, so she's the rebellious one. And then we've got Iris, that is the one that does not really want any attention. She just wants to study and be by herself and not really be the center of attention. So, she's the quiet, wise one. So they are all very different from each other, but they still really love and care for each other. What is also interesting about these sisters is this otherness that is really following them. So Iris says multiple times that wherever her sisters go, it's very weird things start happening. It's the weirdness is following them. They also have this weird thing that happened to them when they were children. So they were out with their parents, and their parents turned around for a second, and suddenly all three of their daughters were gone, literally disappeared from the face of the earth. And 1 month later, they were found. They were naked. They didn't really remember anything that happened to them. And they had these weird scars on their throats. Throughout the book, obviously, they're also trying to find the answers. And we as readers are questioning, what happened to them? What are these girls. Like they are human, they act like humans, but they have these weird abilities. For example, they can make people do, like they can convince people to do their bidding. So, they have these weird powers, which are probably connected to the time where they disappeared, but we obviously do not know this for the majority of the novel. It is like the big mystery that will be revealed at the end. Okay, so now let's dive a little bit deeper into like the plot and pacing of the book. Now, do not worry, I'm not going to share any spoilers or any like crucial information. I'll keep it spoiler free, so do not worry about that if you haven't read this book yet. The mystery, it was really, really well done. I was so shocked at the end when like everything clicked into place. I was like, what? It's brilliant. It's genius. It's so good. When it comes to the pacing, I think it's really good. It's just so fast paced with little breadcrumbs of horror and suspense that just like really keeps you glued to the page, and you don't really feel bored, or at least I didn't feel bored. I was really invested in this story from the very beginning till the very end. The pacing was really just perfect, and I also love that the book balances horror without being like overly graphic. And it could be because it's actually a YA horror, so it cannot be like super graphic as a YA book. So I just don't really like horror books that like rely on gore or like very graphic violence. This one didn't really have that. Of course, there are some like disturbing and creepy moments that maybe will make you feel a little unsettled, but it's not anything that's like very, very terrible. Okay, so lastly, I actually read some interviews that were done by the author. So I will link down all the interviews that I will be quoting in this section, but I just chose the most interesting questions that I think really tell you a lot about this book without any spoilers, and the questions that can maybe really convince you to pick up this book. So the first question that the interviewer asked was, what were your biggest inspirations behind the story of House of Hollow? And the author says that it's a scrapbook of different ideas that eventually merged together. The first spark came to me when I was out hiking with my sister, and I thought, what if I turned around right now and she was just gone? If there was no sound, no struggle, no one else around, it was such a horrifying thought. This story really started to percolate after I visited, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she visited this place and saw ghost doors scattered around the forest, ruins where every part of a structure had fallen away except the door frame. They felt at once inviting and dangerous, like fairy circles. I wanted to walk through one, but found myself afraid that if I did, I might end up somewhere else. Those two elements really drew me in, and I started to build a story and characters and world around them. Okay, another question that was quite interesting is, can you tell us a bit about the writing process behind this book? And Krystal Sutherland responds, it was a struggle and a joy. The struggle was finding my way into the story. I knew I wanted it to feel like a dark, modern fairy tale, but I kept getting swept up in the fairy tale part of that. My favorite stories are those where the supernatural brushes up against our world. It's subtle and somewhat scary. Let's just say there was nothing subtle about my early drafts. I was really beating readers over the head with the fantasy elements. My agent helped me find a sure footing in reality by suggesting I set the book in London, where I had just moved. Once I had the first third of the book in good shape and firmly rooted in our world, the rest flowed much easier. Less is more, people. The last question and the answer I want to share with you, this one might actually be the most fun. So the interviewer asks, the detail in House of Hollow is immersive and incredible. How did you so expertly bring these characters and scenes to life? And the author replies, oh, it was a delight to luxuriate in the details, the smells, the textures, the creepiness of the sisters, and the strange world they inhabit. House of Hollow is very rooted in scent. The milky smell of the girl's skin, the stink of rot and smoke that seeps from the man that haunts them. Playing in a world of high fashion was also so much fun. It didn't feel like work. I spent a lot of time looking at designs by these designers to get a better idea of what Grey Hollow's designs might look and feel like. As always, I was concerned that my Google search history might get me into trouble if anyone around me was murdered, because I was constantly looking up things like, what does a dead body smell like? And how long does it take to burn a human corpse? I love my job. I thought this answer was so funny, and it just really shows you what kind of things you can anticipate in this book. I just thought that what the writer said about, the way she was writing this book and how she got inspired to write this book, it just really helps you to understand what this book is about and what the atmosphere of the book is like. So to sum up all of my thoughts, if you are interested in this book, that is basically a dark, modern fairy tale with horror elements, a really haunting atmosphere, and very interesting and unique characters, then definitely you should give this book a chance. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!